you shooting here?
Well, we've set up our studio in here, and we're going to be shooting quite a bit of different things. So we're going to be having panel discussions down here in collaboration with the exhibit. We're going to have live tapings, and what this is actually is a live taping. So we basically brought in our broadcast studio to the basement of Storefront for art and architecture, and we're going to be taping stuff. Tonight, we're going to meet people because it's the opening. So anyone who wants to venture down the scary stairs can come in and read a fortune into the microphone, speak, say your name, and everything is documented. Everything is about documenting Storefront and where we are now, kind of in celebration of its 30-year lifespan thus far.
Why not leave it up to users to configure their own domestic setup?
Do you want to repeat that for the audience?
Why not leave it up to users to configure their own domestic setup?
To configure their own domestic setup. How do you feel about that?
My girlfriend left me last night for two guys and had a threesome in a hotel, and I'm about to kill myself. And so I'm getting really, really drunk.
I think that answers that question. Anyone else have a fortune cookie? I'm gonna follow these guys upstairs. Here I go. It's really noisy up here. So I'm out here. This is Storefront for art and architecture. It's pink and it's not green. I'm hoping you can still hear me downstairs. Oh, look who it is. It's Matt Bonner. He's our camera guy and he's late. Hi. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Victoria.
Where were you? At the bar?
I wish.
Smell like booze, Matt.
I wish I was at work.
You gotta answer me a question.
Hit me.
With my best shot. Here.
Where are the drinks?
I've got. The drinks are around the corner. Hold on, Matt. Hold on.
This wall's moving.
What do you think? I mean, come on. Hold on. Here's a question.
Yeah.
What's different about being of there?
Well, I mean, I can only speak about being from Cleveland, and it's
Talk to me about that.
great.
Really, though?
It's like Eastern. If you like Eastern European food, it's good. A lot of snow.
There's a big lake.
It's a great lake. Yeah, Lake Erie. It's the dirtiest and the deepest lake in the Great Lakes.
Okay, fair enough.
The dirtiest and deepest man.
Yeah, the dirtiest and deepest. Yeah, he lives by. No, forget it. The beers are in the back. All right.
Are you recording this?
Yeah, I'm downstairs, but we can't. Greg's got the camera right here.
Hey, Greg.
Here.
What's
have
up,
this.
VK?
I know.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
gonna ask.
Everyone's nicely dressed.
They're architects.
Oh. Hey, you guys know that AutoCAD?
Yeah.
Huh?
Hey, you guys know Rhino?
Yeah.
I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna look at people and then decide who I'm gonna ask.
Okay. I'm going to ask spontaneously. Hi. Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
These are fortunes from the fortune cookies that are in these beautiful pantyhose pods, is what I call them. Now, what is it like to be without a home?
Is that a hole? It's very painless, actually.
Like painless? How so?
Because you know, I have nothing to worry about, right? You never tried it. Try to think about it.
There is a freedom there. It's funny, I asked somebody else this question, and they said immediately freedom. So you're the second person who said that.
Plus, you have way more money, especially if you live in New York.
What about a roof?
You don't have a roof, but you don't need a roof.
Have a friend you can stay with, it doesn't matter.
But still, I mean, like, even if you don't, I mean, like, you'll find friends.
Where are you from?
Thank you. What is American architecture.
What is American architecture? Is this the answer?
No, that's as long as
Okay,
storefront's
it's not
been
the
around.
answer.
You get that.
But how can I get the answer then?
You have to
From
think
inside.
from inside.
Okay. I think I've often thought of extruding when I work with CAD programs. Then you have this extrude function where you have these squares in New York all over. And then I imagine that the high buildings are just extruded in a way. That's the way I think of it.
So American architecture are these extrusions
Yeah.
that just keep going up.
Rectangles and then just extruded. So in a way, it's a two-dimensional space converted into a three-dimensional space. I think.
I think the city has got that formula down. I think it's really boring,
Do you
personally.
think there's a lot of wasted space in those scenarios?
No.
Not wasted space, wasted maybe, I don't know. But I'm curious though, because I heard your interjection. You were talking about something, she said it's like New York architecture. California architecture is very different. How would you define American Californian architecture?
American Californian architecture is meant to be low to the ground, obviously, for the obvious reasons of earthquake scenarios or the chances of earthquakes. So they're meant to be low, whereas New York, as the other gentleman was mentioning, is high. New York can afford to build higher.
Still, like,
New
how
York can
about
certainly afford to
aesthetically?
build higher.
Yeah, we can afford to build higher. Yeah. And
California's low to the ground.
yes,
New York likes to,
I like to build up.
a little more ego maybe here, I don't know.
Yeah. It can go both ways. Californian architecture can be widespread as well. It's very lofty, a lot more angular. You see less squares.
Are you an architect yourself?
No, I just study architecture.
So you dabble in it, or you study theory.
Dabble in it a lot. Yes.
Hey, yeah, I'm just getting started.
Oh, as
Yes.
a
Oh, good
Californian,
luck.
I'd like to ask you who 3 of your favorite architects are.
Well, actually, I'm from New York, and
Okay.
3 of my favorite architects are Frank Lloyd Wright, André Lebrun, who's a French architect. He was the first introduction into steel.
I don't like him because he's not American.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just
I'm
kidding.
not a fan of the French, but
Yeah.
the French are really good.
The French, I mean, they know how to build. Let's face it. Yeah.
They're good innovators.
Yeah.
And the third, André Lebrun, because Lebrun started incorporating the landscape into the structural piece. So you didn't just have the building, but you also had the land. And André Lebrun was specific to materials. He innovated on steel and glass into architectural pieces. So, and Frank Lloyd Wright, because he's just amazing. You can't not like him. If you don't like him, you gotta be a asshole.
You have to be an asshole. I agree. I like him too.
And Andre Lebrun twice.
I have to say thank you so much. You've been so lovely to speak with.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
We don't get these people down in the basement where we actually are. We have our studio in the basement here for the duration of the exhibit, and no one wants to come down because they're scared of the stairs. So we came upstairs. And there was a couple of deadbolts that came down, and they didn't want to answer anything. So we were like, we're going upstairs. You can stay down here and play video games, and that's what they're doing. So we're up here now. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
I'm taking a fortune from the fortune cookie pod pantyhose.
Oh, wonderful. And what does it tell you?
It says
For me. Is it for me?
it's asking a question.
Okay, all right.
It's asking this: how can architecture frame and house the spirit of art within?
Well, it just has to allow for lots of possibilities. I mean, we don't know what art is going to be, so architecture just has to be open to whatever is possible.
open equals better?
How often? Well, it's not very often open. So I think, creating an architecture that is allowing for different situations is really important, especially for art. You can't, I think one of the challenges of architecture and art is too often the architecture is prescribing what kind of art can happen. So ideally, it wouldn't be doing that, I guess.
And the cost of materials and all of that probably has a whole lot to do with.
Well, I don't think it's so much about materials. It's more about how do you let space allow for different processes. I think the best spaces for art are just really open-ended. They're letting something happen within that is whatever the art wants to be.
Do you
right?
have an example of a building which...
Well, weirdly enough, I was thinking just as you said that, there's that recent exhibition at the Whitney, which I think it was Robert Irwin. It was like an installation that kind of stripped back the architecture of the museum just to the space, and then did some very simple things within it that created a really amazing environment. There was a scrim and there was daylight, and basically that was it. So the architecture was letting the art do the work, as it were. So that's great when that can happen. It doesn't interfere, it actually enables.
It's a lovely way to look at architecture these days. Thank you so much. This is our broadcast studio. We're going to be in there until January, and we've decided to come up from the depths.
It looks wonderfully dangerous. I love how it's
so dangerous. They didn't want us to come
you could
up.
easily fall in there and never come out again.
Oh, I know. We built stairs just to come up tonight. They wouldn't let us out of there.
Oh, good. It would
Trap door.
It would be exciting to be trapped down there, right?
That's where we've been for far too long.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to be upstairs. What is American architecture to you? Anything, like 2 words.
Private.
Private. Interesting. Interesting. What? 1 word. I'm sorry. Oh, look, dinner's here. Thank you so much. But there's food downstairs. Priority, food. Let's go. Looks like we have dinner arriving. If anyone wants anything, feel free. We have vegetable lo mein and fried rice and bok choy. Here we are, back down to the dungeon. It's quiet down here. Ooh. Greg, you patched in okay? Okay, buddy. There we go. Here we are. Feedback. So welcome, and this is where I live. I'm having dinner tonight. I have some guests over. They're leaving early because they're so rude, but it's fine. Yeah, I'll call you. We got food. We're on the dole, so we don't do it fancy, but it's the good basics.
Storefront TV.
This is Storefront TV. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, but I really like how you edit things.
Well, this is reality, actually. We're not doing it. We didn't manipulate it.
Yeah. So how long can we stay here before we die? Of the lack of oxygen, of the whatever?
Yeah, of MSG. We were asking upstairs a whole bunch of questions. We decided that we absolutely loved the idea of fortune cookies, just because I love them. And you do. I want you to read that.
How can we distill beauty from cosmetics?
Well, the let's say superimposition of another layer. Cosmetics, a kind of artificial surface. What am I doing?
Cosmetics is an artificial surface, yes.
Yeah, but I don't like this. It's not the, it's not the lucky thing. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's.
Yeah.
I'm passing.
I would assume that two architects, both of them very much invested in the development of aesthetic projects with very different agendas, would have something to say about the question of how can we distill beauty from cosmetics? Meaning, what is superficial to what is essential in the understanding of beauty? And someone who talks about the body and cosmetics.
How can we distill beauty from cosmetics? Go.
We cannot, and we don't need to. So that's my answer. Yeah. I don't need to say anymore. I mean, I already said that it's not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I think it's possible.
Oh, raising the stakes. All right, tell me why.
Photographs and representation, they're, like not you. So this construction of yourself, an idea of another self that's not actually really you. So a fake you is actually a better you in some ways. No?
Yeah, but it's more you. More you.
Yeah.
So actually it's more authentic.
You guys really think that is actually more authentic because it's like hyper me?
I think authenticity and beauty is always constructed, always. So I think the idea of separating cosmetics from beauty is kind of not really necessary. Let's go before the question and set everything in a different way, and then we'll have another cookie.
Okay, we'll have another cookie. Okay. Well,
this is not to be. We need claps now. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, I feel that is authenticity, is the authentic self a construct? Then is that what we're saying?
Yes, I think so. I think when I'm in bed and let's say I fart and I watch YouTube, I'm myself. I'm in myself, but it's a really unpresentable self, and so I construct the presentable self, and we all do. And the presentable self that I constructed is as authentic as the other self, I think, but truer to what I believe on the inside. And out of respect for others, I don't go around and fart and watch YouTube.
Isn't that more about how we follow certain normatives? Like, isn't that more of like the idea of an authentic self is still prescribing to this idealized form of what it is to be this or that, or what it is to be successful or healthy, things of that nature?
Actually, we're developing now a project on that here with Eva. And
oh, really?
And you should have like which is called Jeans Revolting City. Because actually, I think
do we have a character generator? Can you roll that text?
Revolting City. Because I actually think, jeans like the jeans, like like the jeans that are inside the body. Yeah, Jeans Revolting City. Because I actually think the whole city is now about this, about producing the bodies by transforming them. You go to the nail salons, you go to the beauty suppliers, all these things are around. So actually, I think this is a key question for our urbanisms. Actually, I think that the city is about denying the possibility of this question.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Even people. You have to see how people is made up in the funeral homes. So they're actually, to be really looking like they have to be made up.
Okay, can I say something? The grammar of beauty, I guess, the grammar of beauty, right? It's not an absolute, and we agree upon it, and therefore, if I think someone is beautiful, it's because time and again we see it and we accept it. And when you say jeans, do you mean there is something inherent, or do you mean there's something we collectively agree?
No, I mean that.
Like, I'd like to thank your mama for the way you look tonight.
I love my mama. I love her genes in me. No, I mean, the way we relate to genes is also by confronting them. So actually, I really like that, because when you go to the very basic thing about how you deal with nature, that is how we deal culturally with genes, we always want to fight them. We want to fight cancer. We want to fight, if you're blonde, you want to be redhead or whatever. So actually, in every
or a brunette.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I am.
Yeah. So actually, we want to revolt against them. I think the city is very much about that. Don't you think? Or the urbanism, at least.
I think in the urban context especially, I feel more and more completely at a loss with what happens outside of the urban context.
Monsanto is very much into this project, definitely. I'm not saying it's good, but you know, so even not the city, but the other thing, yeah, which we don't know which it is, yeah, the grass. Human or the
he's also not good looking, so forget it.
He's not into cosmetics.
He's not into cosmetics at all. No, but it is interesting. I mean, production value and what the face of something now. But you see that the face of something now isn't necessarily something that's engaging or maybe even defining a certain era. It's nothing that's actually looking maybe forward. It's still kind of regurgitating a lot of like the old tropes. But what do you feel about that? Like, I feel like that crosses over into many areas in terms of cosmetics. If you think about it.
What is very good about your question is that also it allows us to see, and it's very good that you talked about production, Jimena, because I think that we also can, because of looking at cosmetics like this, recognize other places where production is happening. Like for instance, hairdressers or beauty salons, and I'm saying this because they tend to be very disrespected, and I think they're super important. And in my opinion, this idea of production is also related to the Marxism and many ways of thinking the political action that could be then expanded to hairdressers. So what could be the revolution of the hairdressers? That would be really amazing.
I mean, to maybe bring this back closer to architecture, facade making.
Yeah.
Facade making, and you know, facade making, there are companies that do facade making very well. There are offices that, you know, now even write extensive essays arguing only for facades. But I think, and there are also critics who write very well about for example, the cunning of cosmetics, as an essay by Jeffrey Kipnis. And then, you know, there's a discussion about, I would say, the disguising or the magic making of what the identity of building or the weight of the building becomes reconstructed. And I think the specificities of the technique when it comes to the making of facades, that would be the treatment of mass to the using surface in architecture is where cosmetics makes buildings beautiful and in a collectively agreed subjective.
I even think that the other ways of taking this further, for instance, rendering and post-production of the image of buildings in interfaces, for instance. That's really amazing. You know, when you see the interfaces with which buildings are explained to users, for instance, those are really made of cosmetics. And our relationship with those buildings tend to be even more with by means of those renderings than with the actual even physical facade. And I really love that because that's a way of seeing how important it is in daily experience of architecture, the production of kind of made up images.
If I have I tend to have an allergic reaction to rendering. I tend to.
I don't even like the word.
Yeah, most of the architects do. That's why I like it so much. Yeah. Yeah.
But the reason why I have an allergic reaction to it because, you know, if I'm just coming off of this book launch.
Hold it the right way up. I mean, let's not be too.
Just came from these.
Wait, hold on, for God's sake. Okay, here.
Coming back from this book launch, and where there was discussion about, let's say, if we're composers of music, right? What would be germane to the conversation between expert composers, the score, and the thought process behind the scores, not necessarily the performance, and not even necessarily the recording. And I would, you know, let's say the construction reality or reconstruction reality that the rendering is would be a recording, a single-minded recording that may or may not be interesting to other composers.
Well, but do you really think that architects are only doing buildings? I really think, I mean, we're all architects doing a TV show, and we're all architects saying I like it in Facebook, and we're all architects presenting books, and we're all, so the life of architecture goes beyond the facades, the material facades.
I'm going to interject here because I have a personal qualm with stuff happening in New York right now, and this might be bringing it back to a little more of a, you know, a gal on the streets. But I have to say that there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of safeguarding. There's a lot of like jumping into this kind of safe pool of glass, which is the same idea as in terms of cosmetics and the idea of the magazine cover today. There's a lot of just nothing, and that's still seductive. And I think that's really boring. And I think I'm wondering about architects today and utilizing, within an urban context especially, what makes it interesting and what makes something actually different? Like how do you see, when you're talking about rendering, you're talking about, building within like a contemporary urban context. Let's talk specifically about New York. Why is it that there's so much of this kind of, this blanket norm that's happening that's supposed to be seductive, but yet it's absolutely nothing at all? I think that I haven't seen a lot of architects or buildings really truly engage in the area in which they're put into in terms of contemporary architecture.
It's a very good thing, and actually, in my opinion, it's because many of those architectures are not built there. They're happening elsewhere. Like people are reacting to other things, like the way they're decorating their homes or the way they're moving in the territory. They're doing many things that are very exciting when you go with them, but they're not kind of represented or happening within the facade or within all these things that you were mentioning. I think it's super interesting what you're saying. How can we deal with that? I think part of it is taking those excitements and bring them back into the discipline. That would be one way. The other way is also that I think there could be things that happen simultaneously. Like we actually expand the discipline into all those other fields, like going on holidays, traveling, the way people deal with the way they reproduce themselves from their homes and put it in networks and Facebook. Yeah. So I think your question is super good. That would be the starting of something. Maybe it's for the next 30 years.
Okay, well maybe. Huh?
Maybe, yeah.
Hey.
With the TV is a good place to do it. Actually, you did it already.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a personal love of broadcast as a medium, and I think it's an interesting place. But a lot of people don't. But it's cool. I'm fine. People will catch on again. It's okay.
I would like to have applause.
Let's have applause. Okay, fine. These, give them a hand.